In the last week, there have been volcano eruption warnings from Iceland to Japan and Hawaii, and scientists are predicting a decades-long dormant volcano in Alaska.
Deep within the icy heart of Alaska, an extraordinary event recently unfolded that has left scientists grappling with more questions than answers. Beneath the snow-packed ridges of the Brooks Range and in the shadow of ancient glaciers, something unprecedented stirred, a geological emergence so unexpected and bizarre that it has upended long-standing theories about Earth's crust and its hidden dynamics. Emerging from a remote expanse of permafrost, a colossal dome of previously buried terrain began to rise, bulging from the Earth like some slumbering giant awakening. What scientists initially thought was a minor tectonic disturbance soon revealed itself to be a phenomenon that defied traditional geological classification. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. This dome, stretching nearly 2 miles in diameter and rising over 50 feet in just a few weeks, appeared seemingly overnight. Local wildlife fled the area days before the rise began, suggesting that whatever forces were at work extended far beyond the human senses. The terrain shifted with eerie precision, lifting entire forests without uprooting the trees, warping the landscape in smooth undulations that suggested immense subterranean pressure moving with controlled release rather than violent upheaval. The strangeness was not limited to its form or speed. Instruments placed nearby recorded unusual low-frequency vibrations emanating from deep within the Earth, sounds so bizarre they initially registered as machine noise, mechanical, rhythmic, almost pulsing. As the scientific community scrambled to respond, teams from multiple research institutions descended on the site with seismic monitors, ground-penetrating radar, and deep drilling equipment. What they discovered beneath the dome shocked even the most seasoned geophysicists. Approximately 4 miles underground, nestled within the upper mantle, they found a massive structure unlike anything previously encountered in North America. It appeared to be a massive, semi-hollow formation made of crystallized silica with patterns that resembled hexagonal honeycomb lattices, completely unnatural in geometry and symmetry. The implications were staggering. Such formations are theorized to only occur under extreme pressures and temperatures, like those found in the deepest parts of Earth's mantle or near planetary cores. But the precision of the shape suggested not just natural crystallization, but a process of assembly, one that could only be described as intelligent. The structure emitted steady electromagnetic pulses that interfered with communications equipment and even temporarily disabled GPS navigation within a 50-mile radius. The pulses weren't random. They exhibited a pattern, a sequence, a rhythm, consistent and complex enough to suggest encoded information. For weeks, researchers recorded these pulses, attempting to decipher the language of this newfound geological anomaly. Their early analysis indicated that the signals bore a striking resemblance to mathematical series found in quantum physics and fractal geometry, echoing forms in nature such as spiral galaxies, hurricanes, and even the double helix of DNA. But what was this structure? And why had it emerged now? One theory gaining traction among geologists and physicists is that the dome represents a form of deep Earth resonance, a previously unknown mechanism by which Earth's internal structures respond to external stimuli. Perhaps gravitational fluctuations, shifts in the magnetic field, or even solar activity could trigger such a resonance, causing buried formations to rise and communicate. Others believe this to be a form of cryovolcanism not previously seen on Earth, akin to phenomena observed on moons like Europa or Enceladus, where subterranean material is pushed to the surface due to internal heating. But here in Alaska, the terrain was not ice. It was solid bedrock and frozen Earth. Something deeper, far older was at work. The implications of this emergence are vast. If such structures exist beneath the surface of the Earth, could they exist elsewhere, beneath the ocean floor under Antarctica, or even beneath other tectonic plates? And more disturbingly, are these structures remnants of something lost to time, a geological curiosity, or a relic of something sentient? Some researchers whispered theories that bordered on science fiction, suggesting that this may be the result of an ancient civilization far predating humanity, one that had evolved beneath the Earth's surface, leaving behind structures built not with stone and mortar, but with the minerals and physics of the deep mantle. Adding to the intrigue were the sudden environmental changes around the dome. air temperatures in the vicinity rose several degrees, despite no atmospheric anomalies. Magnetic compasses began to behave erratically, spinning or pulling strongly toward the dome's epicenter. Animals avoided the region with almost supernatural precision. Migratory birds detoured in massive flocks, and wolves altered their hunting patterns, instinctively steering clear of the invisible perimeter surrounding the dome. This biological aversion hinted at forces that could only be felt, not measured. Something ancient, primal, and perhaps even threatening. Further exploration revealed another surprise: a series of narrow fissures around the base of the dome. These cracks emitted a faint bluish light visible only at night. Spectroscopic analysis revealed the light to be the result of a rare type of bioluminescent gas, composed of compounds that do not occur naturally on Earth's surface. These gases contained isotopic signatures found only in deep Earth minerals, the kind formed over billions of years under unimaginable pressure. Their appearance at the surface meant that something had pierced the Earth's crust from below, like a breach in a sealed vault, allowing ancient chemical reactions to escape for the first time in Earth's recorded history. Seismologists analyzing the data noticed one other, even more perplexing phenomenon. The surrounding rock didn't appear to be displaced. Instead, it had been displaced and then reformed, almost as if melted and molded back into place with the dome as its core. This implied some sort of molecular rearrangement rather than simple tectonic upheaval. The energy required for such a feat was staggering, far beyond the capabilities of natural geothermal movement. It was as if the Earth had reshaped itself with purpose. What emerged in Alaska was not just a dome of Earth. It was a message written in rock, pressure, and time. Whether the sender was Earth itself or something older and hidden, no one could say. But the emergence shattered the illusion that humanity had mapped, measured, and understood all of this planet's secrets. Every map now felt like a guess. Every satellite scan, a blurry snapshot of a much deeper reality. It reopened questions thought long settled. What lies beneath our feet? How much of our planet is truly unknown? What forces could bend time and stone with such elegance and power? To understand the emergence was to be humbled. It was a reminder that the planet, for all its oceans, mountains, and deserts, holds a second world below the crust. One more vast, more mysterious, and perhaps more alive than the one we know. The dome in Alaska was a key to that world, but not the lock itself. It hinted at systems and processes that had continued for eons beneath human awareness. It challenged the very timeline of Earth's history, and suggested that time itself may not be linear in the depths below. Layer upon layer of mystery pressed into silence beneath the surface, waiting for some unknown cycle to bring it forth. Scientists from around the globe began re-evaluating seismic records from the past century, looking for similar anomalies that had been overlooked or misclassified. In doing so, they found echoes, small tremors, pulse signals, and thermal anomalies in other regions. The Siberian tundra, the deep Amazon, even near the submerged peaks of the mid-Atlantic ridge. None as dramatic or concentrated as Alaska, but similar enough to suggest a pattern. Could the Earth be preparing to unveil more of these formations? Was this a singular anomaly, or the start of a cascade? And if more were to rise, what then? Speculation grew. Some researchers drew parallels to ancient myths, stories of underground cities, glowing caverns, or celestial objects falling to Earth and vanishing beneath the soil. The dome's symmetrical design and rhythmic emissions resembled some of these legends, as if they had been distorted memories passed down through oral traditions, born from real events buried under millennia of tectonic motion. The stories of the Inuit and Athabascan peoples were examined anew, not as folklore but as potential historical records, accounts of stars that fell to Earth, places that glowed without fire, and mountains that sang in the night. What truly emerged in Alaska was more than geological. It was psychological, philosophical, and existential. It challenged the primacy of surface life, suggesting that perhaps intelligence, consciousness, or even life itself could thrive in forms and places unimagined. The Earth may not be a passive sphere of rock, but a complex system of nested mysteries, each layer deeper, older, and more sophisticated than the last. The dome was a voice rising from the depths, not shouting but whispering, beckoning those who could listen to come closer, dig deeper, and rethink everything they thought they knew about the nature of the world. And so the dome stands, silent yet active, immobile yet growing, indifferent yet beckoning. Around it the land has stilled. The skies remain cloudless. The animals keep their distance. The scientists camped at the edge of revelation continue to measure, record, and wonder. Whatever caused the emergence has not yet ceased. The pulses still come. The dome still vibrates. And below, in the hidden corridors of Earth's oldest memory, something has begun to stir. As days turned into weeks, the scale of the Alaskan phenomenon deepened with each new discovery. The dome had not stopped growing. It was expanding at a rate imperceptible to the eye but unmistakable to precision instruments. Seismic sensors picked up subtle shifts in mass, not just outward but downward, suggesting that the structure was anchoring itself into the Earth's crust. Beneath the visible mound, a vertical shaft appeared to be forming, as if the dome were a surface node of a much more extensive underground system. This wasn't a mere extrusion of pressure, it was a development, a construction. A series of unmanned probes were lowered into the emerging shaft. What they revealed was even more confounding. Roughly 1,000 feet down, the shaft walls became translucent, refracting light in unnatural ways. Not reflective like crystal or glass, but rather behaving as if light itself was bending through a medium that hadn't previously been observed in Earth's geology. Spectral analysis showed wavelengths shifting in microbursts, alternating between ultraviolet and infrared in patterns too fast for the human eye to follow. Some speculated the shaft acted like a lens, bending light and potentially time on a quantum level. The laws of optics and matter were misbehaving in a way only theorized in highly speculative branches of physics. This was not just a geological oddity, it was a place where the Earth's physical rules seemed pliable. Then came the thermal anomalies. While the surface temperatures remained stable, save for the immediate dome vicinity, the probes detected an intense thermal inversion deeper in the shaft. Temperatures dropped instead of rose, with readings showing pockets of near absolute zero conditions in areas supposedly under immense pressure. These cryogenic voids should have been impossible. Yet, they were there. Spatial anomalies, potentially linked to energy dynamics scientists had only seen in particle accelerators, or the theoretical models of black hole thermodynamics. The dome was not just emitting energy, it was controlling it, regulating it, folding it. Following this revelation, physicists entered the fray alongside geologists, planetary scientists, and even experts in chaos theory. A working hypothesis began to take shape. The dome and its substructure could be a natural expression of a planetary function unknown to modern science. Just as plate tectonics regulate heat and mass across the crust, this anomaly might serve an ancient dormant role, perhaps one that activates under specific cosmic conditions. Some pointed to the recent spike in solar flare activity and subtle distortions in Earth's magnetosphere as potential triggers. Maybe the planet, like a cell responding to an external signal, had begun a process long encoded in its makeup. Radiation readings provided more puzzles. Not the harmful gamma or alpha rays typically feared, but a new kind of soft radiation, a barely detectable quantum emission with a spin resonance that didn't match any naturally occurring isotope. It didn't deteriorate organic tissue or damage materials. Instead, it subtly altered electronic devices, introducing mild discrepancies in memory storage, digital clocks, and hard drive functioning. It was as if the dome emitted an informational field, warping digital entropy. These effects were consistent enough to predict, but not yet understood well enough to counter. Laptops wouldn't crash, but files rearranged themselves. Photos showed glitches in timestamps. Devices powered on at odd intervals, reacting to the pulse of something non-mechanical. Meanwhile, at a molecular level, the dome seemed to be affecting the surrounding terrain in strange, precise ways. Soil samples taken from the perimeter of the formation revealed accelerated mineral metamorphosis. Clays were becoming harder, forming lattice-bound silicates at a rate typically associated with millions of years of tectonic compression. Trees near the edge displayed cellular growth rings that had tripled in thickness within a single growing season. Not simply signs of mutation, but controlled directional development. It was as though the dome was organizing chaos around it, realigning local matter into a more stable or intentional form. This deepened the possibility that the formation was not a relic of past processes but an active operating system, a biomechanical construct of planetary scale. Some theorists proposed that the dome could be part of a global network, similar to neural clusters in a brain. They likened the Earth to a dormant organism, one that had developed structural thought nodes deep within its body over eons. The emergence of this dome might be its first attempt in geological memory to connect with the surface layer, to interface. If true, that would mean Alaska was witnessing the first synapse of Earth's hidden consciousness firing into awareness. Stranger still were the electromagnetic echoes picked up across the globe. Several observatories reported synchronized blips in radio telescope data, short bursts of repeating waves that mirrored the rhythm of the dome's pulses. These signals were too short to carry traditional information, yet they followed a recognizable Fibonacci sequence in their intervals. The bursts seemed to travel not through space, but through the Earth itself, using it as a conduit. It became evident that the emergence was not a localized event. It had ramifications, signals, and even responses echoing across continents. Soon, small tremors began appearing in locations aligned with the Earth's magnetic ley lines, from Chile to Kazakhstan. These tremors were not destructive, but consistent in frequency and depth, almost as if the planet were awakening to the dome's signal. The notion gained traction that the Earth might have a distributed internal architecture, not mechanical in any human sense, but systemic, built of energy flows and mineral consciousness. The dome, in this theory, was akin to a beacon, broadcasting across a latticework of forgotten pathways. Other scientific fields joined the discourse. Linguists noticed that the pulses emitted from the dome bore rhythmic resemblances to proto-language patterns, not speech but structure, like a syntax of vibration. The regularity and recursion were hallmarks of language itself, albeit not spoken or written. It was a linguistic ghost made of pressure and resonance. If the dome was a transmitter, the possibility existed that it had been trying to speak long before humans knew how to listen. Meanwhile, oceanographers began reporting shifts in deep-sea currents thousands of miles away. These changes aligned with minor pressure shifts recorded from remote undersea locations near tectonic boundaries. Something was sinking, oceanic flow patterns subtly adjusting as though harmonizing with new geophysical signals. These weren't catastrophic changes, but they signaled a rebalancing, almost as if Earth was calibrating itself around this new emergence. It begged a staggering question. Could the appearance of this dome be Earth's method of re-establishing planetary balance? Even more incredible was the discovery of micro-resonant particles in the upper atmosphere, tiny clusters of silica-carbon bonds previously unknown in natural formations. These particles reflected a mirrored version of the dome's vibrational pulses, suggesting that emissions from the structure were not just penetrating outward but also upward, into the sky, perhaps beyond. Satellite scans began showing minor disruptions in ionospheric layers directly above the site, hinting that the dome's influence extended all the way to space. The feedback loop was becoming planetary in scope. Yet amid all this, the dome remained static in appearance, silent, unmoving, inscrutable. No openings, no obvious surface mechanism, just the ever-present pulse, the strange electromagnetic field, and the unshakable sense of orchestration. Whatever it was doing, it was deliberate. There was no chaos, no instability. It acted with the patience of continents. It moved in rhythms beyond human comprehension. Increasingly, theories shifted toward non-human agency, not extraterrestrial, but non-terrestrial in concept. The idea emerged that the structure could be a product of Earth itself, an auto-generated intelligence, a planetary-scale emergent behavior born from countless cycles of pressure, energy, and information. Evolution not just of species, but of the planet's own systemic awareness. After all, if life can evolve, and if brains can emerge from chaos, why couldn't a planet evolve consciousness of its own slowly, subtly, through a medium of rock and magnetism rather than neurons and synapses? Remote sensing began mapping out subterranean tunnels and cavities radiating from the dome. These were not random. They were geometric, evenly spaced, and interconnected. The formations resembled the dendritic sprawl of nerve cells, sprawling outward into the deep earth. Each tunnel reflected the same refractive properties observed in the shaft. Light bending unnaturally, heat flowing in reverse, time behaving in micro-anomalous ways. It was like looking into a cross-section of some titanic neural network buried beneath the crust. In labs, replicated minerals from the dome's surroundings began displaying unexpected properties. Some samples showed magnetic memory, the ability to remember exposure to fields and recreate them days later. Others exhibited piezoelectric reactions far stronger than any quartz or zircon found in nature. The materials were not just passive components of a geological anomaly. They were active, reactive, and possibly engineered. Every piece of evidence gathered pointed to an origin that defied historical understanding. This was not a meteorite impact, not a sinkhole, not a result of climate change or volcanic activity. It was a system, self-contained, intricate, and old beyond reckoning. It hadn't formed recently. It had simply been dormant, waiting. For what? No one could answer with certainty. Some postulated that it was time-triggered, an evolutionary milestone reached by the planet itself. Others suggested it was an external influence, an alignment of cosmic events catalyzing something buried in Earth's depths for eons. And what of human perception? Those who visited the dome's perimeter reported strange phenomena, heightened awareness, flashes of intense emotion, or auditory hallucinations. Not delusions, but sensory misfirings, perceptions that bled across boundaries. One researcher described hearing the sound of roots growing in soil. Another claimed to feel vibrations in their bones hours after leaving the site. These weren't mystical experiences. They were consistent, measurable, and repeatable. The dome's influence extended into biology in subtle ways, as if Earth itself were testing its ability to interface with life. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on what emerged in Alaska? Will it change everything now? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.